Behind the gates of his mansion, Jackson was wrapping himself in a cocoon of prescription drugs. Everyone in Hollywood blamed the Dr. Feelgoods, the people supplying him. But the truth was that Jackson was no innocent bystander to his addiction. He was the instigator. At this pharmacy in Beverly Hills, Mickey Fines, famous for its celebrity clients, Jackson ran up a bill of $100,000 in 1 year. Would you class him as a drug addict?
He has to be.
Can I just ask you about these rumors that he was taking heroin, that his body had track marks?
I think...
Does any of that sound plausible to you?
Heroin does not sound right to me at all. Even my heroin addicts would rather go to what he was taking, what he was alleged to have taken. So there was sort of no reason for him to use heroin. He had pharmaceutical medications, were exceedingly powerful and do the same thing. What I do anticipate is you're going to find scarring throughout his buttock and hips, just like Anna Nicole Smith, from years and years of injection sites. And it ends up being a woody scar throughout the hip and buttock region.
Jackson was surrounded by drug enablers, but there were also insiders trying to take the drugs away. As the London shows approached and the hype and ticket sales went through the roof, in private, a struggle was going on for Jackson's body.
I know his father, Joe, was fighting to get him some help. Right. And this is something I know for a fact.
They were trying to get help?
They were trying to get Michael some help. They knew Michael couldn't do the 50 shows. They knew he had a habit, and they honestly wanted to get him some help. They can say whatever they want to say about Joe Jackson, but Joe Jackson loved his son.
So why didn't they give him any help then? You said they wanted to give him help. How come they couldn't?
They would change his number, man, and it'd be weeks before they give it to the mother. I know that for a fact.
So what you're saying is the people around Michael were stopping the family from getting to Michael? The Jackson camp and the Jackson family were said to be in favour of an intervention to cold turkey Jackson, the so-called enablers and hangers-on, allowing Jackson's drug addiction to continue. So what happened when you tried to intervene? What happened when you tried to talk to everyone about the situation with Michael?
They thought I was out of my damn mind. And it put me in the house. I couldn't get in the house.
They wouldn't let you in the house?
No, I couldn't get in the house. I couldn't get in the house.
In spite of the turmoil behind the scenes, the juggernaut of the shows rolled on. On May the 20th, AEG went to great efforts to explain their reasons for the delay and denied rumours it was due to ill health.
Good morning from Los Angeles. I'm Kenny Ortega, Michael Jackson's creative partner in directing and creating the show.
And I'm Randy Phillips, the CEO of AEG Live.
This was on YouTube. It was something they recorded on a Michael Jackson fan site, MJJC, explaining why the concerts have been put back.
We have a massive production that is in the process of being built and developed and rehearsed. And, the original plan would have put us into the O2 for one night before we opened to the world. And as I became involved and heard what was, going on in Michael's mind and heart and what he wanted this to be, it just wasn't practical.
The arena is incredibly busy. We couldn't move Madonna, James Taylor, any shows to make room for our pre-production rehearsals.
Madonna was to blame for the fact they couldn't get to the O2 and they had to delay the first gigs.
We want to open with confidence and securely, and with integrity.
Nothing to do with Michael being ill. No sign that he's ill. He's in great shape.
When they moved the dates back, what happened in London? People panicked. Right or wrong. So if they said any inklings they was having problems, it would create a panic. Because you got 1 million people or 850,000 people done bought tickets. So they didn't want to create the panic because they didn't have no solution to the answers for the panic. Regardless, if the house is falling down, they got to be positive about it. It's going to stand.
What is the latest on Michael's health?
I would trade my body for his tomorrow. He's in fantastic shape. And, you know, words are cheap, and I've refuted all the crazy stories. He's not sleeping with elephants. He's not dying of skin cancer. You know, every day there's another story. I've never seen anything like that. He's a magnet for these weird stories that people make up. Okay, but as far as really talking about his health, his director can answer that question better than I can.
No, I just say that physically and mentally, I mean, we're having a blast. We really are. We're having a great time. This is a high time for Michael.
It's hard to know what AEG really knew. They still claim they delayed the first performance by 5 days to accommodate additional production needs and rehearsals. Weirdly, the cancellations seemed to have a positive effect on Jackson. He began to go to rehearsals with real purpose and appeared against all expectations to want to do the concerts. Robert Baker saw him rehearsing.
To you and your trained eye, he seemed to be a man who was able to cut it on the floor.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, he was magical, you know. I mean, I didn't see this old frail that you often hear. People were in awe by his health and how well he could dance and keep up, be it that he's 50 and most of these kids are like 20.
48 hours before his heart stopped beating, Jackson was dancing on stage. He looked stiff and awkward, but Robert explained why.
He was marking it. He wasn't dancing full out. So, you know, when you...
What do you mean he's marking it? What does that mean?
You know, what dancers do oftentimes when they're doing a rehearsal, they don't really dance full out, like 100%. They'll go through the marking of doing the steps, so they'll mark it and go, okay, let's just run through it and mark it. Because this is somebody, I mean, when he's going full out, I mean, he has an oxygen tank on the side of the stage, and he runs and he puts that on because he goes so hard.
Why was Jackson making this Herculean effort now, after months of what seemed to be delaying tactics? Perhaps because the penny was dropping that there really was no way out. No more cancellations. There was too much at stake.
The clock was ticking for Michael, and the pressure on him was growing.
Hell yeah, the pressure is on you. This deal got a lot bigger than Michael.
So, Jackson was heading for the stage, with no exit sign in sight. But how was he going to get up there?
What kind of drug would he have needed to get him onto the stage to perform? And then would he have needed a drug to get him down off the stage, back to his narcotic state?
In all probability, he would have needed extra opiate pain medication since he has lots of pain complaints. And that, again, charges people up. It doesn't necessarily sedate them. Particularly addicts get high. That's the high.
Right.
But then coming down on the other side, you can develop withdrawal, you can develop dysphoria. You have to keep it at that same level. And as a compensation for that, sleeping medications and anxiety medication become what addicts tend to use. And, you know, again, the universal complaint of somebody coming off opiates is, I can't sleep.
Jackson could have stuck to what he'd known for 20 years. Drugs to get him high on stage, and drugs to get him down. But in the days before his death, he didn't want to do that anymore. In a desperate attempt to be ready for London, did Jackson try to clean up. At the Staples Centre 2 days before he died, Jackson had one last dress run through. But as he came off stage, Jackson was in agony and needed just one more injection to deal with the pain. In this last footage ever recorded of Jackson performing, he was holding up his hand. It seemed to be a plea to stop.
Hold for applause, slow umbrella fade out.